So our next special topic, which is a very important topic, is the understanding of Javadoc. So Javadoc is actually the name of the utility in Java installation, set of binaries on your system, and you can use Javadoc to generate documentation for your source code, which is very small subset of features, but extremely effective because it allows you to properly document your methods, classes, parameters of your methods, return types that you return from them, and also information about the authors of the program, the version of the program, and other, essential pieces of the code documentation. So let's demonstrate this. To demonstrate this, I will choose one of the projects that I have here. This, for instance, this input validator. Let me just verify that it's runnable. Yeah, so it does some work. It compiles and runs. So I'm just going to just maybe input a few values here just to get through this. And here we go. So we have some code, an example of an application. One of our so this is one of our previous homework assignments, which was asking you to make the object-oriented validator, right? So if, many of you would recognize these classes if you already completed this homework. Just to demonstrate what the Javadoc might look like, you can go to Tools, and you can say Analyze Javadoc. Now, Analyze Javadoc simply adds, well, there are options, but overall, in general, you can see that what it does, this specific tool basically goes to your project and says, well, you have some packages there, you have some classes there, Under those classes, you have class members, and for the most part here it says missing Javadoc, right? So it just tells me that I really have not been making much effort to document my code. So let's just select everything to demonstrate what's possible to document. And we can just say fix selected, right? Fix selected. It goes and it does its thing. I will close the analyzer, and you'll see that what just happened was that if I go to my to my classes, pretty much. Let me just close some of these and just make sure that I open my classes here. So let's just start with the main app, right? For instance, main app. In the main app area, what I do is that I will remove the top comment here, and you can specify who the author is here, right? But for every class, you can say that you can add a brief comment that describes the purpose of this class, or even add more extensive documentation. For instance, I can say the class accommodates the main method of the application. Right, so I could document it like this: the main method of the application. Likewise, I can say that in the validator, I can document my validator class by saying that this is a utility class for various input validation methods, various static, I would say. Those are primarily static input validation methods. Then, periodically I can say my work. If I go to object-oriented validator, this is hierarchical validator class. And then for my customized validator, I can say this is a subclass level validator. So I just provide a few comments just to demonstrate that. So once we did that, we can then basically go and go to the name of our project, and let's just first clean and build, since we have made some changes on the code. Clean and build, and one of the options here is to invoke the Javadoc utility. So before we do that, let's just make sure that we display the output, right? And I can just clear this so that we have a clear view of what's going to happen. And when you do this, you can say generate Javadoc, and what it does here for us, it just goes in right there, right? And it shows you what the actual command line is to invoke the Javadoc. But Javadoc is just a utility on our system, and it just analyzes our code, and what it does, it parses the comments which contain the documentation and generates the documentation. For example, here it opened this library, and as you can see, this is located in our package distribution Javadoc subdirectory. It created this index HTML, and so it does allow me to navigate between multiple classes, and this is the documentation that I've been adding to describe what my classes do. Right, so this is very consistent with the official Java documentation. Official Java documentation also uses Javadoc. So this essentially builds a Javadoc website which can be uploaded to some server and can be made available so that everyone can browse through this, and being able to understand what classes we use. As you can see, there's a list of methods available, and then theoretically there's a documentation for every single method inside my class. Right, so I'm going back to the initial documentation, and I'd like to start with perhaps this validator Java. Right, so the documentation goes that we can document packages, we can document classes, and we can then document individual data members and methods of our classes. So for instance, if I have a method named getString, I can say, I can just write a short documentation line for it, which will say a method to get a text input, a method to say display a prompt, and get a text input from the user. Of course, I'm just inventing some of these descriptions as I go, but you see that it can be pretty reasonable, and it can be very useful to someone who's trying to understand what this does. The brief description of Javadoc is just a free text form. However, the Javadoc itself is recognized by using the slash or finding a slash and 2 asterisk next to the multi-line comment. So primarily when Javadocs are used in our source code, once we start using Javadoc, we primarily reserve the use of multi-line comments only specifically to the purposes of using Javadoc, right? So it'd be bad style to embed a mix of Javadoc comments, a mix with regular comments, also multi-line comments. So if you think about multi-line comments, perhaps it's a great idea to make that part of your documentation and use Javadoc comments, which basically their format is multi-line comment with more than one asterisk next to the opening comment / an asterisk. Some people actually, may try different types of decorations for Javadoc. For instance, using asterisk to create those type of separators that include multiple asterisks forming a line like that. So there are different ways that people prefer to improve the readability and visibility of their code. But essentially what you get when you document your methods is that you get, like I said, a brief description. It can be one line, but then it can also be followed by a paragraph or two of a description. But you can also use a special Javadoc tags. There's really very limited number of these tags. And here we demonstrate that there's a param to describe method parameters, and then also a return tag, which would describe what this method does return back.